Hello everyone and welcome to another episode takeover of Help I'm an Adult, featuring yours truly, Nekisha Anthony,
and your boy Anthony, aka Tutu.
Today we're going to be talking about something really special with you. We're going to discuss self-care and self-worth. So make sure you like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff on every possible platform.
Boom. Thank you so much. So we get started. There are so many words we can use to describe how we feel about ourselves, how we think about ourselves, and how we act towards ourselves. Like Nekisha rightly said, today we're going to be touching on the two important topics, which is self-care and self-worth. So I'll start with you, Keisha. How would you define like self-caring and self-worth and stuff like that?
So for me, self-care is something that you do for yourself to take care of yourself emotionally, physically, spiritually, something that helps you protect your inner part of yourself. So that could be something as simple as taking time out every day to meditate, or setting aside 20 minutes to write down your goals for the day and your affirmations, or it could just be something silly like making yourself your favorite drink and favorite dinner and really taking time with cooking it and treating yourself like that. So I mean, obviously it's different for everyone, but
so to add to what you said about self-care, don't be sure to look out for videos dropping around the same time where I've done a video on self-care. I think it's important as well because, like you said, men and women have different ways that we look after ourselves. For a man, a lot of times that we neglect certain things like facial, like looking after our face, looking after our fingers, looking after our health in general. And I'm going to just touch upon self-worth and kind of just define a little bit of self-worth. Self-worth is pretty much literally self-explanatory. It says what it says. Like it's all about your self-belief and self-worth. A lot of people I know kind of feel like they've got imposter syndrome because they compare themselves, they compare their worth to another person, but people's stories are different. There's a reason why we're all unique individuals, so you should look at your self-worth and figure out your thoughts and feelings behind that, your behavior towards yourself. It's important,
and also to have your self-worth in your hands and not defined by what other people think of you, because it's so easy, especially when you're younger, to get caught up in the mess when people say things and they say like, I don't know, she's selfish, she's bossy, and then you think, oh my god, am I that person? Maybe I'm not as kind as I thought I was, or maybe I'm not as generous as I thought I was, and you start listening to this like monkey chatter almost. People that do meditation will know all about the monkey chatter, but you don't need to listen to that. It's not 100%. It's not your business what people say about you, and it doesn't mean it's true because only you know and what your own self-worth is.
Exactly. And that leads us to our next question. Why do we think, you and I, why do we both think that self-worth and self-care is important?
I just think it's important to build resilience in life and to push back on stresses that you just necessarily can't eliminate. And there will always be that pressure in your life. And I feel like if you don't have release in some ways, you're just going to explode at some point. You need to take time out. That could be like, I've got friends, obviously, that for them, self-care is literally having a chat on the phone and catching up with old friends and, having like a good, meaningful conversation. And for me, I love having massages. I love feeling totally chilled out by being massaged, but other people, they hate it. So, but I think it's definitely important, because without that, you're just giving, and you can't give anymore from an empty tank. So you need to take care of yourself first. And I feel like in this society, we are almost like brainwashed, especially by big corporations, to give as much as you possibly can. Like many of the big four companies, say, oh, they kind of look badly on each other if one of them wants to leave before 5:30 or at 5:30 on the dot, which is when they are supposed to finish working. Or why? That person may have a family, they may have their own personal life. Those 3-4 hours when they get home could be crucial for their mental health to top up on their self-care, which then inevitably leads on to feeling better about their self-worth. Like it just goes hand in hand. So what do you think?
That together, that's brilliant. No, you're right. Like it's so important. Like you said, they both go hand in hand. If you're not looking after yourself, then inevitably you don't feel worthy of yourself. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like you said, it's almost like I'll add another word to that. It's almost like being self-aware and knowing when it's time to switch off and give you time, you know, and when it's time to like you said, affirm who you are and build up on your self-confidence as well, and not obviously rely on people to do that for you. Some people are very, very, very reliant on others to boost their self-esteem, boost their self-worth, or tell them, you know, you need to do this, you need to do that for your life. Some people like that, but it's important that you find it within yourself so that you don't need to, like I said, you won't need the reliance on other people. You know what your worth is. You know that you need to look after yourself at this point in time, that point in time, and you know the right time to give and take.
Yeah,
So,
and I feel like as well, what you're saying is so true, because in those moments where you are building on your self-worth and you do your self-care, you are learning about yourself, and you're learning about what you do like, what you don't like, what you feel is what means something to you, basically. And because of those things, like, because you know what is so valuable to you and valuable for your time, like something that you're willing to spend time on or whatever that's important to you, when you get disrespect in areas of your life like friendships or relationships or work, and they are not treating you how you feel is fair, you are more likely to push back, to go, no, sorry, I've actually, you know, I'm a decent person, I work hard, I provide value in these ways. But someone that doesn't do the groundwork on themselves may inevitably just feel like they have nothing to offer anyone, and then they don't get the best out of themselves, and especially in careers. I think that's really important.
Absolutely. And that leads me to my next beautiful question. What do we think causes, because these are questions that we may get as well, people listening to this or watching this on YouTube. What do we think causes like low self-worth and low self-care? You know, so I'll go, for example.
You go first.
Yeah, so one thing I think, well, one of the few points I think that causes low self-esteem and low self-worth is just for one major thing that people don't look back on is their childhood. Having an unhappy childhood where your parents or like teachers were extremely critical, especially when you had bad grades, is big time.
So true.
It brings down your self-confidence so much if you know that every action you take, you're getting criticized by those you look up to. That's your parents and teachers or mentors. That really adds to your self-worth, and really it adds the detriment of it. One, two, boom, ongoing stressful life. If your life is constantly full of frustrations, constantly full of stress, that's only just going to make you doubt yourself more and more, because you feel like there's no light at the end of the tunnel. You know, there's everywhere you go, there's constantly obstacles in your way. And if there are constant obstacles in your way, that's going to add to stress in your life. And therefore, if you constantly see an obstacle in your life, you're not going to have the confidence to push past those obstacles or see past that. And what else? Finances is a big one. I know too many people. I've had to do it myself personally. There's been moments in my life where I've had to go broke a few times, and that's affected me mentally, and has affected my confidence. You know, because I didn't feel like I felt like if I didn't have the money, I couldn't, one, look after myself as well as I wanted to, and feel confident within my own skin. You know, because I didn't have the money to spend on the right supplements to have, or spend money on the right foods to eat. You know, things like that add to my self-worth and my self-care. What about you?
Yeah, definitely. For me, I think childhood is definitely a big one, because I mean, look, I love my parents, you love your parents. My parents are amazing. They've given me everything I could possibly want for in life, set me up and helped me so much. But like a lot of parents, and especially parents that are from foreign backgrounds, in my opinion, they can be pushy and they can be critical because they want the best from you, and they have been raised with this view that the only way to be like this is to be maybe a bit hard on you, like, come on, why aren't you studying, why aren't you doing this, why aren't you doing that? And they don't want you to settle for something that's not the best of your ability. They don't want you to settle for a B or a C or whatever that other parents might be happy with. They want the best from you because they want the best life for you, and it's good intentions, but at the same time you always end up feeling like you have this people-pleasing mentality, like you have this, like, you know, dad, am I doing enough, are you proud of me now, sort of thing, because you're never quite there. And I feel like that is a huge thing on self-worth, because I mean, if I didn't have that and I didn't give a damn, maybe I wouldn't be sort of in a tech career. I mean, I do love my career, but at the same time, maybe I'd have done something a little bit more creative, like going to art or something that is more me, like writing or something. But because I had this sort of cynical attitude for my parents, work out like that. But I mean, it's also a blessing in disguise. But yeah, I think you're completely right. And also with financial stuff too, like people don't like to say it, but like money is freedom, and it's awful and it's because that's the way the world works. But reality is, if you have that money, you can eat right. I mean, there's been this whole thing going on with the government, like, and they go, oh, you know, you can feed a family for this much money. No, you can't. You can buy them the lowest quality ingredients, crappy carbs that are just going to fill you up, but they're not going to give you nutrition, what children and families need.
No nothing.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, I'm in complete agreement with you. I think those are the things that can really affect self-care, and also just toxic relationships. Like there are people that are friends with people from that they've been friends with, that they chose maybe when they were like 5-6 years old, but you're not that person anymore. You've shed that skin and moved on and transformed about 6-7 times since then, you know. It's okay to let go of friendships if you feel like they're no longer serving you, if you feel like there is some kind of underlying jealousy or kind of animosity. Like, you should surround yourself with friends that are genuinely happy for you and genuinely care for you and want the best for you, not you know, people
where you're going literally is to the next point. How do we increase our self-worth and self-care? Legit, where you started is the perfect point. Removing bad vibes, period. It's you know, it's that being said, a lot of people find it really challenging, you know, to let go of like friends they've known, like you said, for like 10 years, 20 years, they've known since childhood and stuff. But like, if you really sit down and deep it, this person is not right for you, whether that's right for you in a friendship sense or right for you in a relationship sense. This person is not right for you, but obviously they don't see that. They just see the longevity of the friendship. They think that's the only reason to maintain that. But no, bro, if you check yourself and check your self-worth and check how the relationship you're keeping is affecting you, then you know how to increase it, bro. Remove from bad vibes, good vibes, allow good vibes to come in.
Yeah, and it's okay to leave someone in a chapter of your life, because it's fine. Like, some people aren't always supposed to be here for the whole journey. They can just be for one part, and that's fine. And that friend could have been a really good friend to you when you were 15 years old, 13 years old, whatever. But maybe right now you just don't have aligned views on things or whatever. And it's the same for relationships, like you say. So
anyone listening out there, not all your friends are for you.
Cut them off.
100%. Cut it straight. Cool. So how do we increase it? So we talked about cutting out negative vibes, focusing on the positives. Another thing I'd say as well, to increase in self-worth and self-care, making time. Make time for you, always. Whether that's 5 minutes, 10 minutes in a day, make time for you on a daily basis. Like we've mentioned, they go hand in hand, self-worth and self-care. If we're spending time, like you said, Keisha, if you're spending time doing stretching, yogas, and meditation, that adds to your betterment of your mental health. Do you know what I mean? Like things
and
like
consistency as well, because that's something that I really struggle with. Like, I know what is the right thing to do, and I can wake up on a Monday and be like, I'm gonna go for a run every day this week, and it comes to Thursday and I'm like, I'm done now. But you just need to try and power through, as hard as it is, because if you're not consistent and you're not staying mindful of these things and keep pushing on, you're not going to create the good habits that you need, because it's not like a short-term fix, it's a long-term solution, right? So it needs to be something that carries on and you keep going with it, because otherwise you're not going to feel the full benefits of it. Like, if you do yoga for like 1 week, you're not going to feel like super flexible and supple, and do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. That's a really good point to mention to those out there who are listening and watching. What Keisha just said is really important. Like, I think the word there is self-aware. Being self-aware, knowing that that the journey you're about to take is not easy, but also if it was easy, we'd all be doing it. You know, it's a journey for oneself. Like, it's for your own self. You shouldn't see it as, oh my God, this is so long to do, because you've got the rest of your life to do it. You've got the rest of your life to make positive changes within yourself. that literally trickles and affects the rest of the things around you in a positive way. So why not invest that time and invest that money into something that's positive? People see like the work as such a steep thing that they give up.
Yeah, they see it's just like another thing they need to add on their list, and a stressor, which is the whole point, is supposed to kind of reduce down the stresses. And to be honest, exercise is important. I know you're like a huge advocate of exercise.
Straight up.
I don't love it, but I try and do it because I know it's good for me. But ultimately, if your self-care routine, you don't feel like you're getting a lot from it, and you feel like, oh, I don't want to have to write this list every day about things, you know, that are good for me or whatever. Like, I try and write down like something that I need to do that day to be a better person. Like, try and make someone's day, put yourself out for someone and make someone smile will be like one of my affirmations for the day. If you don't feel that resonates with you, you can choose something else. Like, it doesn't have to be a cardboard cookie cutout, the same thing for everyone. People value different things, and they, you know, that for me is good because we've spoken about love languages before. I am a words of affirmation kind of person, but you could be a quality time kind of person. Pardon, which one are you?
I'm an action guy.
Yeah. So for you, that would probably be making yourself a nice dinner that you really love.
Yeah. Full on.
For me, I love words and I love physical touch. So I would like give myself a little scalp massage and write down things I love about myself. It just works for different people.
Yeah.
But I do think there is a slight danger about this self-care, because it's become such a buzzword that it could potentially, if it's not understood properly, enable people to be lazy because they are always in the comfort zone, always wanting balance. And so they don't want to push them out, like rev it up a gear to maybe, for example, you know, you've got to do work, right? And you're like, no, sorry, it's self-care. I'm logging off at 5:30 and I'm not going to finish that work. But really, you can give it like 20% more of your, do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. So the word there, people, is get comfortable being uncomfortable. Yeah. Because it's not easy. It's not
like
easy.
Sometimes you need late nights to get done. And we are almost being too fragile with ourselves in our generation, that actually I feel like good ideas, like really good ideas, blossom from like that hard work and that grind. And and after you've done it, you have confidence in yourself. Like, yeah, I didn't think I was going to do that work, but I pulled an all-nighter and I smashed it. I'm not saying do that every night, but once in a while you do have to kind of push yourself a little bit. You know?
Yeah, if you're, that's the way I see it as well. If you're not pushing yourself, if you're not hungry for something, and you're always doing things when you're comfortable, what's the point? You know, like how do you feel a sense of accomplishment when you do something out of your comfort zone? So that's a question that I feel like everyone should really ask themselves. And boom, last but not least question: how can we help those out there see their self-worth and take better care of their health?
We've touched on it. I think.
Yeah, we've touched on it a bit here and there, haven't we?
We have. Okay, so there's a book called The 4-Pillar Plan by Dr. Chatterjee, but what is his name? Let me tell you, sorry.
Cool. While she's bringing that up, one way I know that I do to help people see their own self-worth is I actively share positive things on social media. I use myself as the biggest example. I find that makes people more relatable to me. Once I'm constantly, and I don't just post generic positive things. I post positive things that reflect who I am and my nature. And in sense, it you know, people see that and they're, oh damn, that's amazing. They'll comment or they'll get engaged and they'll say, and then there's a lot of people reply to me and say, oh man, I really need to hear this today. You know, I'm so happy you posted it, and then they'll reshare it as well. So that's really good. That's one way I do it. Go ahead, you say.
No, I was going to say, in the same way that you absorb like the crap that you see on TV and the news and stuff, you absorb the good stuff too. Like, I feel like something like that can really set your tone for the day and make you happy. But I was going to say the doctor is Dr. Ranjan Chatterjee, and his 4-pillar plan is eat, sleep, relax, move. So in this book, if you don't know anything about self-care and you don't know how to begin, it basically gives you so much detail on eating habits, exercising, like moving your body, sleep, rest, and how it basically forms like you can have like a structure table in which you can sort of write in things that you're doing for yourself in each one. And his overall philosophy is that if you're balanced across each of these 4 pillars, then you'll have a balanced life. And I think that's a really good approach, because we're always short of something. You know, you can be excelling in all the things, but maybe you're just not sleeping well, and or you could be eating right, but you're super stiff all the time. And so I feel like I would read one of those books to begin the self-care journey.
For sure. Another one that I've got as well is being caring but also firm. One thing I like about myself, especially when I have my bad days, I have a couple of good friends that I go to, like yourself. I got one of my boys as well that I go to. They understand how to talk to me, but at the same time, they're not just patting me, give me a pat on the back. They know they have a right amount of being firm with me that I really like, because it's almost like a kick up the backside, you know, like, oh,
like a tough love.
yeah, tough love. I sometimes I need that, and sometimes I feel like a lot of those people out there who are having low self-esteem and aren't looking after themselves as much, you should really hold on to those friends and family members who care for you but also giving you tough love, because they actually love you, they actually care for you, that they aren't just giving you a pat on the back saying, oh, it's all right, you can do it tomorrow. No, they tell you, yeah, it's not all right, but power through. You know me, you're gonna get it done. Like, just be comfortable being uncomfortable, because it's gonna get worse before it gets better. And nobody wants to hear that, but it's actual truth.
Yeah, rather than just deluding you, like, well, just don't bother doing it anymore, then stop doing your workout thing, you don't need to do that anyway. Like, if you have that, then you're never gonna accomplish anything, because it's always going to be hard before it gets easy.
100%. And complimenting people and helping them accept their compliments as well. Some people don't know how to accept compliments, so compliment.
That's so true. I was listening to a podcast recently, and I think women especially guys are like, look at you, yeah, and they can all be like this, like, can't deal with you and tan. But I think girls especially, like, you know, they'll go, oh, you know, you look really great in that dress, and you're like, oh, this whole thing, like, oh, it's awful. I thought, you know, and I feel like we've got this natural instinct, especially as being like British, of like putting ourselves down and being like, no, I'm not that good, when you could actually, it feels so much nicer to accept that compliment and say, oh, thank you for noticing, or something like that. Especially with, like, it's like something like when you go into a meeting and people, it's just changing the way you say things and the way you accept things. Like, so saying, oh, sorry, I'm late, it's like, thank you for waiting for me. And instead of being like, oh no, I look ugly, or I'm so spotty, or whatever, you could just say, oh, I really appreciate that, that's really kind. And it just takes 2 seconds, and you're nicer to yourself, and you feel better to yourself for it. Because sometimes you think, why am I hating on myself so much? Like, you're supposed to love yourself more than anyone, and I wouldn't say this to a friend, so why am I saying it to myself?
Exactly.
Yeah,
good. These are really good questions that people should be asking themselves before they like take action in anything, really.
Yeah, 100.
Yeah,
100%.
this was amazing. This was fun.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, it was better than I thought it was going to be, because I thought I was going to be
awesome, good. I think once you get into it, like, it just becomes second nature. But yeah, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Help, I'm an Adult. It's your boy Tutu and Nekisha Alamadani. We are here. We covered self-worth and self-care. Be sure to like and subscribe if you're on YouTube. If you're here listening to this on Spotify or any podcasts, be sure to save it, tune in, and yeah, let's hear your self-worth and self-care tips as well. And look forward to the next episode. Peace.
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. Yeah, cool. That's that.